All right, folks, we're live. Let's get this show on the road.
We're alive.
Yay, road show.
Yay, road show. We'll call it a road show. Welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, your source for IT news, commentary, and a healthy dose of paranoia. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, episode 29. I'm your host, Nate, and I'm joined, as usual, by Jason, and our newest edition, who's getting to be old hat at this, Dustin.
Salutations.
Indeed. So we're trying out a new time for our live show. Anybody who's listening after the fact, we're going to start recording at 7 p.m. and this is the first time we're doing that. So of course we're late as usual. It's now 7:24 and we're recording.
Or they're arguably right on time.
We're right on time. We're as late as we always are.
It's all good.
All right. So I guess we'll get right into the news, huh?
Sounds good.
So
Sounds good to me.
You guys are familiar with this SMS thing, right?
What?
It's kind of like
kids use it.
It's kind of like Twitter.
It's like IRC on my phone.
It's like IRC on your phone. It's about the same era.
No, wait. I used to do this on a BBS. I dial up with the phone, and then I can text back and forth with the person on the other end. Although it's usually I text and then I disconnect. I wait a day, and when I go back, there's a message. Isn't that?
Man, you are old.
Ouch. Ouch.
According,
I have to rage quit. Ooh, I can kick ban you. Hang on. Kick ban.
Oh, okay. Are you gonna wait, you can't ban me, can you?
I don't know.
I'm the one that hosts the damn thing. Anyway, according to CNET, on Sunday, December 3rd, text messaging has turned 25. Says the first text message was sent on December 3rd, 1992 by British engineer Neil Papworth to Richard Jarvis, an executive at British Telecom Vodafone, who was attending his company's holiday party in Newbury, England. You know what that tells me?
That was before Jarvis started running Iron Man's suit, right?
Yep, I guess so. But you know what that tells me? Even during the holiday party, engineers never stop working.
I mean,
was it a happy accident?
Yeah, I know. Like, have you met an engineer?
Not sure I understand the problem here.
It says that the first message was actually typed out on a PC and it was sent to Jarvis's Orbitel 901, which I don't know if it includes a picture. That'd be awesome if it did. Let's see. If this plays sound, I'm sorry. No, it doesn't include a picture. Okay.
There's a picture of a woman with
yeah, there's a picture of a woman and a phone that is obviously not the Orbitel 901.
Good advertisement, but
a mobile phone that would take up most of your laptop backpack. And the message read, "Merry Christmas."
It didn't say hello world. Come on. What kind of engineer is this guy?
Oh, it says Merry Christmas. Maybe you should say like Happy Holidays or something instead.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's politically correct.
So
that's PC.
So terrible. The article also goes on to say that the original idea of text messaging was thought up back in 1984 by Maddie McConan.
I think that's right. Maddie McConan.
Who initially suggested the idea back in 1984 at a telecommunications conference. 1984, that was right around the time that the Thought Police were formed, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So anyway,
I don't want to think about it too hard.
Right. So texting is old. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's still included by default. How many people still send text messages? I guess a lot of people do. Maybe I've just gone beyond it.
Sure, a lot of people do.
I almost never actually use text. I never actually use text anymore. Text messaging. I use other methods.
Like Slack?
No, well, like
Emoji
Slack is one of them. No, it's like Slack is one of them, or Google Hangouts, or like anything but a standard text message.
So you don't use SMS.
I don't use SMS. That's what I meant.
You're
I
still
don't
using
send
text.
text messages.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
So
I'll send it to your pager.
yes, send it to my pager. This is
Let
probably
me go find a payphone to call you back.
This is probably the precursor to text pagers. I would assume
Those are pretty badass when they came out.
they were.
I still
they
have one
were.
around here somewhere.
Yeah, you showed it on a previous show.
Did I?
If I remember, it was transparent.
Yeah, it was like either yeah, it was transparent.
Yeah.
That's right.
One of those where you can see the double A clearly through the side.
Yep.
Yep,
because that's cool.
90s, man.
Listen, if there's anything that 1990s computer movies, aka hackers, taught me, it's that transparent laptops are awesome.
I hope we have if somebody comes out with another one like that. It'd be cool.
Another transparent laptop?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Apple will do one in glass. Can you imagine?
There are so many jokes there, but that is something Apple would do. Glass. It's the new aluminum.
Yes. How do the Brits say it? Aluminium? Aluminium?
Aluminium.
Aluminium. Oh boy, we're already getting off the rails. Okay.
Yeah, so moving on.
I'm not that far into my beer yet. I can't get off the rails yet.
You're familiar with Facebook Messenger. Well, maybe Jason's not.
Is that like AOL?
Speaking of applications that you can send text messages through that aren't SMS, one of those is Facebook Messenger. And it's a pretty popular one at that.
Yeah. No comment.
For all you Facebook users. So apparently Facebook has decided that they're going to have a for kids messenger app called Messenger Kids. They announced this sometime recently. So I guess the big difference between standard messenger and the kids messenger is that parents, so there's like a parent-child relationship, sort of like there is in real life, where parents can okay who their children are allowed to chat with, and they can moderate, they can see what they're sending and things like that.
So this works for parents that actually care what their kids are doing.
Apparently this is for parents who care what their kids are doing. So, I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but I'm not putting my 6-year-old on Facebook for anything.
Why not?
Why not?
Facebook needs to know everything.
Facebook needs to know everything. But yeah, they say this is geared for kids as young as 6. I don't know. This seems letting 6-year-olds talk via a medium like this isn't unheard of. I mean,
I guess not.
Like that's fine, but linking them into the Facebook ecosystem seems like a bad move.
What happens when they turn 18? Do they get a full privilege account, or is it still up to the parent to?
I would assume that when they turn 18, they get a full account, or maybe whenever the parent decides they no longer have to be coddled.
Because I could see like the kids changing their birth date. You know, like if they can up their birth date. Oh, hey, I'm only a year away from being 18.
That's what kids have been doing to get Facebook accounts thus far.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Because there was a point, I don't know if it's still the case or not, but there was a point where Facebook was adults only.
Yes,
right.
I remember.
But, I mean, that's not unusual. I mean, my kid has an iPhone with an Apple account that's 18 plus that I can't fix because it's already locked at 18 plus.
Raise your hand if you've never lied to an online forum or form to try to get access to something you were not supposed to as a minor.
Oh, that would be lying.
I mean, welcome to, well, I mean, that was, heck, it was like when I got on the internet.
Well, I don't know. Was COPA in effect when you started on the internet?
No. I remember when it showed up.
Yeah, because like before that, it was rare when they asked you for your age. Nobody cared. And then, so Child Online Protection Act, for those that don't know, since they've made it completely illegal for kids to lie about their age and for people to, and it forces people to actually care about what your age is and not give you content if you're underage. You know, that all of that is obviously stopped. It's kind of like the gun debate since we've outlawed certain types of guns, nobody has them anymore.
I mean, obviously nobody has them anymore. They all just vanished.
Right.
Just like all the kids under 13 vanished when COPA showed up.
Firmware upgrade.
No, but I mean, even in the early days, I mean, we're talking like 93, 94 when I first got online. Which, I mean, I don't know when COPA came about, but I don't remember seeing it then. But most people that had content that they didn't want kids access to, like, they were reasonably responsible, probably because they didn't want to get sued.
Right.
More than likely.
So I'm sorry. I've got to go back to this firmware upgrade thing. I know you're not a parent at this point, Dustin, and maybe some point in the future you will be, but you can't just firmware upgrade your kids. That's called brainwashing. That's not allowed.
What do you mean you can't? Modern medicine has an answer to everything, man.
I didn't think anybody picked up on that.
What's that? Your kid's misbehaving? Here's a firmware update, aka prescription medicine.
/update.sh. Oh no. I bricked my kid.
Well, I mean, yes, prescription medication could brick your child.
That is a process you don't want to kill.
This is a good analogy.
Yes, no killing. You can't kill your child processes.
No, that you can't. That you can't.
Here.
We're gonna get arrested. Okay, moving on.
No, we're okay. We said don't do that.
Yeah. Moving on to parents and children. This is a really interesting article.
So now we're going to talk about forking?
Yes, actually. Sort of. I actually, for a change, read this entire article because it was so interesting. Science Alert is a website, apparently. .com. They have an article about Google's AI that built its own AI that outperforms any made by humans. Folks, if you want to know how the robot overlords come into play, this is it.
I'm curious.
When the AIs start making AIs, we have problems.
I'm wondering if Google's AI can make an AI that builds better AIs.
Ooh.
Oh, God. Can we make turtles all the way down?
Well, that's exactly what the article is about. Like, this is now this is kicking off an evolution of AIs that are getting better than humans can program them.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, look, if at the end of the day an AI is created, that means that I can do whatever I want and not have to go to work and kind of explore whatever avenues I want while the AI takes care of the rest of it. I'm good with that.
Nice. That would be
Does this mean that someday we will get away from having a currency?
No. Because people are too damn greedy.
Damn it. Oh, well.
Well, I mean, this is the beginning of Star Trek.
Yeah, right.
This is the beginning of the end.
The article goes into some details as to what these AIs are meant to do, and they basically come down to like photo recognition and like video recognition. They're talking about how this AI will, like, in a live video, it can identify things, and they have this still shot of like a beach with people and kites flying, and it's got all these
it's missing something
identified on the
screen.
Yes,
because the first thing that you want to teach an AI is how to recognize what is how
to find targets.
But listen, we found a weakness here. It hasn't determined what is land and what's water.
No, it can't tell where the water stops. So all we have to do is go into the water.
Who are you kidding? I'm not going to say it.
Yeah,
Never
so
mind.
they said that this also has benefits for their self-driving cars and whatnot, because a computer that can better identify something it's going to accidentally run over is a good thing.
And the
this way it could be on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Human detected.
It has gone so sideways already.
High score.
Well, yes. So instead of the top, it says person 3 points, person 10 points.
Holy crap!
This one's really fast.
you think about what you.
That's terrible.
We broke Nate.
Humans escape into video games for entertainment. What do the video games escape into?
Reality.
This is scary stuff, guys. Anyway, there's AIs making AIs now, and they even call it parents and children, and it's kind of creepy.
It's all fun and games until you kill a child process, and then the parent process comes after you.
Yeah, right. You get revenge cars chasing people down. You killed my child. Okay.
Good stuff. Oh, you didn't mention the most important thing though.
What's that?
NASnet. Sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, okay.
So what happens if you kill the? Let's see. I got to remember how this works. If you kill the
container.
What happens if it turns into a zombie process?
Then we have The Walking Dead. Then you have to take a hatchet to the CPU. It's the only way. You can't just take off limbs or other vital organs. It has to be the CPU.
A press doesn't work either, right? Or is that effective?
A what?
A press, like a metal press. There's a particular movie.
You know,
robot.
Like the Arnold movie. I'll be back.
Oh,
okay. I'll be back.
I'll be back unless I get crushed by a press. In which case, I'll come back in a different body, over and over again.
Yep.
Hardware may die, but software never dies.
They're remaking it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Terminator?
Yeah, they're remaking the original Terminator.
Is Arnold going to be a simulation?
And out of ideas, they're gone, all of them. Let's just remake everything.
But here's the part that confuses me. Do you know who's playing Sarah Connor?
No.
Linda Hamilton. Again.
Okay. So she's just going to be an older version of herself?
I guess. I don't understand. Unless
Sarah Connor's just going to be a grandmother in this one.
Unless they're doing like a past future thing or something. But
maybe.
Yeah.
They could do a render like Tron. Remember Tron Legacy? There was a rendering of what's his name?
She did do a good job.
So I will say that Tron Legacy did that younger rendering a hell of a lot better than Star Wars did.
You didn't like the one in Star Wars?
No, that was disturbing. Like I had nightmares. That was really bad.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I'll be seeing the sequel next week. Next week?
I have no idea when I'll see it.
10,
I'd love to see it in theater. So
that's what I think.
Hey guys, we're here to do a show. There's news.
Next tab.
Next.
Oh, news. All right. So we've solved AI.
On to the real news this week. Well, it's actually from last week, I guess. Right? This was early last week?
This was late last week, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? No, Wednesday or Tuesday.
Hey, there's a date on the article. November 28th, guys. Late last week.
Great. What? Today's the 4th. So early last week? I don't know. Last week.
There's this thing called a calendar. The 28th was last Tuesday. There. Early last week.
Yeah. Is it November or February that ends on the 28th?
We need a moderator to be on the show and just smack us back into line.
Hey, I just want to point out that I've got, and Dustin's aware of this too, we've got a nice lively chat going about the podcast that you can't see because it's on our company
This is
Slack.
not fair. This is not fair at all.
Ooh.
Hi, Jason and Dustin's co-workers.
Hi, co-worker. I won't say your name online or on the podcast.
Oh boy, I won't either. But
no.
Oh,
related to that person.
I'm not sure why a purple whip has come up in conversation, but
oh dear,
this is a little weird. Anyway,
kaboom!
So Root.
It was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
On to the real news.
Hello, Earthling.
So you may have heard that early last week, on November 28th, which we have discerned was last Tuesday, There was this interesting little bug in High Sierra.
Oh,
You've probably
more of a
heard about it
feature.
to no end at this point. So yeah,
Not a
it's
bug,
really a
it's a feature.
feature. This is,
Yeah.
you know, if you happen to forget your password for, you
Don't
know,
worry,
no problem.
you don't need one.
just about any account, all you need to do is log in with root and no password and
But
fix your
what's the
password.
password for root? What's the password for root?
That would be nothing.
Oh.
Or honestly, it could be anything. Anything you
Yeah.
want to type,
So-
that's the password.
So our
So-
And
password's
then that
going away?
becomes the password afterward.
Our password's going away? Is this the feature?
Yes, this is it.
Yeah.
So we've gone so see, when single factor was not good enough, we went on to multi-factor. Now
Right.
we've gone backwards to zero factor.
Wow. Sounds like a
sing-
Google project.
It's not even well, no, I guess it would still be single, wouldn't it? Because you still have a username. But then
Or a
wouldn't a
face.
password be a second? No, this can't be right. We've gone back to no
So-
factor authentication.
So, I don't know if you get to mess around with this, Dustin. I verified that if you're in the, security preferences or whatever, and you're logged in, and you need to bypass the lock icon on there, you can just put root and no password in.
Okay. Let's try.
What I
haven't
didn't
tried the machine yet.
what I didn't verify is whether you can actually log into the machine as root.
So here's
Supposedly
the way this works. You can't just log into the system or like SU or something to get to root and set the password that way. This only works through a certain avenue within OS X. And there was, I don't know if it's in the article that we linked. By the way, the article is from CSO Online and it's from Steve Reagan. If you
Hi, Steve.
don't follow him on Twitter, you should, because he has some really good info. And he wrote up this article like as things were happening on the 28th. So pretty
On
cool
the
stuff.
ball, as always.
He's also very plugged in with a bunch of security people,
Yeah.
and he's pretty much an all around good guy.
Yeah,
So he
basically-
tends to write good stuff.
Yeah. So how this worked was if you use Apple's UI and something where it's going to re-authenticate you, like if you go into your system preferences and you need to hit that unlock icon to change system preferences, when it comes up and says, what's your password? You can just blank out your name and type in root and then put in whatever password you want or no password at all. And what that does is your Mac will then unlock the root account, as in it's usually disabled. It will undisable it or re-enable the root account and then set the password to whatever it is that you entered. And then it'll come back at you as though it failed. And then if you do it again using whatever password you set, whether it was empty or not, it'll let you authenticate. From what I understand, at that point, any authentication screen, whether it's on the terminal or the login prompt or whatever, you can then log in as root with whatever password you set.
Right.
So that's sort of
Okay.
the order of operations.
So
Yes,
you have
can
to
log in as that user, but you have to have been logged in as the user or logged in as a different user and set root's password first.
Gotcha. So how does that affect? So is that the same for the remote access as well? So
Yes.
if you want to hit VNC and Apple Remote Desktop, you have to have set the password locally first through whatever means, and then you can
Yes.
access it remotely.
Yes,
Okay, that
because
makes a lot more sense.
the wildfire that was running around a couple days after this occurred was, hey, don't test this on your machine because it opens you up to remote code or a remote exploit, which is so in its initial state the root account is disabled. When you do this, it enables it and sets the password to whatever you set it to. Everybody was setting it to nothing because they thought that was the vulnerability. So then root was enabled for any authentication prompt with no password. That included remote, whatever they call remote assistance, remote desktop, or whatever they're calling it on Mac OS. So you could then, if you're like, attacker X or Shodan or something, and you find Apple devices that are open to the internet on this remote assistance protocol, you could then log in as root.
Okay,
So-
got it. So my understanding outside of that is that this was not a function of the underlying Unix system as a problem.
No.
This was the function of the directory utility or directory service incorrectly handling root without when it's in a
Yes.
disabled state.
Yes. So for whatever reason, the bug was that it was really any disabled account. If you had some other account that was disabled, you could do the same thing to it. It wasn't just root. But any account, it just handled, if the account was disabled, it handled it improperly. For whatever reason, it thought, oh, well, I'll just set the password to the thing that you just entered, which makes no sense at all. Like, I can't even figure out how that.
Yeah,
that would be a flow at all.
That makes two fairly high-profile security issues like this coming out of Apple in the past short period of time since High Sierra came out. I mean, the original one being the password in plain text when you ask for the hint.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right, I forgot about that. Was a couple months ago.
Yeah, which was look. I mean, it's
hey, what's my password? Oh, it's password. What?
Right. So I mean, that honest mistake, bad failure in QA, right? And this could be something, unless you know, we can't see behind the scenes on what's going on in directory utility, but this could be something similar. So
yeah, I mean, this could have been a very simple mistake made, but I mean, I just can't imagine any workflow that would take whatever password you entered and set the password to that.
Right.
Unless it's a change password dialog. You know what I mean? That just seems really
odd.
Well,
like a big mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple different scenarios that I've actually seen in real life that could result in this. It's a mishandling of a disabled account, is what it sounds like. But you know, that's speculation.
Well, yeah, obviously, that's exactly what it comes down to. So yeah, pretty big deal. Some people are speculating that Apple's QA has just fallen short ever since Steve Jobs passed away.
They've been saying that with every software company so far.
Software
every time somebody. What's that? Yeah, well, that's what I meant. Yeah, what did I say? Company?
I don't know. It feels like Microsoft has improved since Bill Gates stepped away. They do seem to be in a better position than they were in the past.
No, I would argue that Microsoft has improved significantly since Steve Ballmer has stepped away.
Yes,
that could be.
Gates wasn't horrible. Ballmer was, the dude was like not a computer guy.
No.
Let's put it that way. But yeah, the new one, I forget what his name is, but he's seems to be doing the right thing. Matter of fact, I was talking to somebody, a friend of ours who works for Microsoft now, was talking to me the other day about, well, funny enough, did you guys know that in Windows 10 they added Linux?
Whoa, really?
Whoa.
Yeah, that I thought was really funny when he came out with that one. But right now it's Ubuntu, but they're working with Fedora to get Fedora in there as well.
Yeah, didn't we report on that? I thought we did.
I don't know. Did we?
Wasn't SUSE supposed to be part of that at some point?
SUSE is supposed to be part of it as well. So
I believe SUSE. I believe SUSE is already available and Fedora is not yet, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so they went for fake Fedora before they went for real Fedora? I mean,
yeah, right. It started with Ubuntu, you know, everybody's favorite Linux, and then it went on to
not Jason's
SUSE.
Real Linux. Oh, went on to SUSE, which was worse. I might take Ubuntu over SUSE. Yeah. So, but his commentary was that they're working, like they want to create a universal OS.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting take on it. So, but it's still not going to get me to install Windows. But
not yet.
I mean, I don't know. This is sort of off topic from what we were discussing, but the problem I see there is that, at least in its current state, the Linux subsystem for Windows is nowhere near as useful as an actual Linux box.
I have not looked at this directly myself. According to what I've been told, it's actually running on a hypervisor now. So it is a full-blown Linux stack.
But you
minus X1.
You don't get X, right?
I
mean, they're working on that right now.
Sure, you can get a CLI. Okay, so if I can get X in Windows, maybe.
What they're
I would still prefer to run Fedora as my OS and a Windows VM or a Windows subsystem inside of Linux.
Right. Well, what they're trying to do, again, this is he's not on this team, and I don't think he has any inside information.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is all public. Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Get your buddy fired.
No, because he doesn't have any access to this team. So he's on a totally different team. they're trying to combine X and the Windows windowing system. So
Yeah.
if you were to launch something in the Linux subsystem, it'll interact with everything in Windows the same as a Windows window would. This is going to get confusing.
So like the
damn
reverse
thing's
of
called
Wine?
Windows.
You remember Wine on Linux?
They did this years ago with Sigwin.
Sigwin's still active.
No, but it's not. So Sigwin, you actually launched X, and you ran it, but it was separate. What they're talking about is building the all the hooks in so that when Linux calls something for X, it actually translates all those calls into Windows calls.
Well, I guess we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
it sounds a lot more like OS X. It's kind of what OS X does.
Yeah.
Except it doesn't really run an X server.
Right. I mean, the other way to do it is I forget what VMware and VirtualBox and those guys called it, but you can
the Synapse kind of deal, but it's not really an app. It's like a virtual window.
Yeah. So who did Parallels did it first, I think, where you run an app and it appears that it's running inside of your native OS, and it all it is just window decoration to make it look that way. But interesting enough. All right, so now that I've derailed this,
completely.
let's
so there was
back.
this nasty bug in Apple, and Apple very quickly released a patch, like within a day, I think it was.
Same day.
So technically, this was. I'm remembering this a little more clearly now. The day that it dropped was Monday. The day the article was written was Tuesday, the 28th. It was like end of day Monday, and then by the end of day Tuesday,
27th. You're right. Yep.
Apple had a patch.
I believe you're right.
Or midday Tuesday.
There's some debate on where it was reported first. So the public tweet is what made the big huge firestorm about the whole thing.
Yes, there was apparently a mention of this on some Apple support forum weeks earlier.
Right, and the problem is
it wasn't like
nobody. Well, it was. There was a bug file. They did figure that out, but the problem on the developers forums is that it was treated as like, I found this thing, neat.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, oh my God, this is a massive security hole.
This was like, here's a way to solve your problem. Because that's the way it was. It wasn't, it's like, oh, look, I found this way to get around your problem. This must be by design. Apple knows what they're doing.
I found this feature. It's really cool. Don't tell anybody.
I found this feature and how you can get into your machine. It's root. It's awesome.
It's easy. Yeah.
So anyway, the patch came out. And our next article from Beta News reports that apparently if you install the patch and High Sierra 10.13.1 in the wrong order, it could make you vulnerable again.
So I'm going to go. I'm going to run it this way. It's your own damn fault for not keeping up to date.
Yeah, well, Apple sort of assumes that you're on 10.13.1 when you apply the patch, right? So if you're not there yet and you apply the patch, which to me it sounds like it should be an easy enough thing for them to say the patch requires 10.13.1, right? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Yeah, and every time you've rolled out an emergency patch, you've done it right the first time, right?
Absolutely. This is Apple we're talking about.
Who screwed up the root thing to begin with? So
they do everything right, and they do it in shiny aluminum.
I don't always test my code, but when I do, it's in production. It's the only true way to debug.
On billions and billions of devices.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure if Apple had billions of devices.
Millions and millions of devices.
We would not be discussing whether Apple screwed something up or not, because attack helicopters would have come out of nowhere and annihilated us already.
Millions. Fine.
Be a lot of eyes.
I think my printer is alive.
Apple doesn't make a printer, are you sure?
It's totally whirring at me right now.
No, that's the attack helicopter outside your window.
HP somehow.
It's a drone. It's a drone. It's the Apple drone that everybody's heard about.
Right.
It's running.
So anyway, be careful if you've applied the patch, because if you then update to 10.13.1, you may be vulnerable again. Does that mean you have to apply the patch again?
I wondered what the workflow would be for that. Would it prompt again?
I would hope that it would say, hey, you're vulnerable again. Here's the patch.
You do need to reinstall the patch. And according to what All right. So the original patch for this allegedly, and I can't confirm this because I'm on betas and I didn't actually get the patch, but according to what I've been told, the original. No,
Okay.
It's been dealt with now, but the original patch did not require a reboot. Which
Okay.
There was a lot of people that were like, "Wow, there's a patch and it didn't need a reboot." Like, okay, that's really not a new thing, but okay. This time around, when you're on 10.13.1, you have to reinstall the patch and you have to reboot. And I'm not sure why the reboot is necessary the second time around, though.
It's interesting.
Well, I mean, sometimes a reboot is just a convenient way to clear out sessions and whatnot.
Oh no,
that's got something to do with it.
Right. But it's a directory. I mean, yeah, but if it's just the directory utility, like a patch is weird, or a reboot is weird. But I don't know.
Well,
Nate, you know why Jason runs the betas on his computers and devices?
because he loves to be bleeding edge and have headaches because of it.
But bleeding edge of what?
I don't really have
The bleeding edge of tomorrow.
Emojis. The emojis, man. It's all about the emojis. The bleeding edge.
Oh, it's the emojis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
wasn't going to do this publicly, but Dustin, you're fired.
Because he let your secret out?
No, it's him and emojis. It's just he's got emoji on the brain, and I can't have somebody working for me like that.
I feel like I
started writing Python code.
I feel like I don't need to bring this up again, but we covered this in previous episodes. We know why he's all about the emojis.
Dude's first Python program, the first thing he looks for is an emoji library. I mean, how is that not a firing offense?
I did that for you, Jason. I did that for you.
Right.
Does it let you write code in emoji? Because that'd be great.
It'll interpret ANSI. Oh, write code in emoji. No.
No, actually, if you want to write
this
code
function
in
is
emojis,
a smiley face. That function is a frowny face.
What if you made a dictionary?
If you actually want to write code using emojis, you have to use Swift.
Okay.
But what if you were to use a library? Huh? Go ahead.
Swift will let you actually use emojis in the code.
Really?
Like as variables and stuff.
Oh, yeah, this won't do that. I was thinking you could use
I just want to name a function poop or something.
No, you have to do sign of the horns, man.
Right.
Horns.
Right. Or that dancing woman.
Great. Oh, yeah. Now apparently I'm getting toilet paper with emojis on it. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
The things that
there's a whole.
Oh boy.
Listen.
Thank you, coworker.
Listen, Jason and Dustin's coworker. You should go join us in the chat over on my other monitor here on YouTube.
Over here too.
Oh, that means I have to open it.
That means I have.
It's open, and I'm not. I mean,
I don't have special privileges. I'm just.
I don't either.
I mean, if they're watching us, they must be watching us on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, but it's on their big screen TV apparently.
Yeah,
we warrant on big screen TV. How big is the TV? 60.
On your laptop or your phone or something, you open it up, pause the video, and then you can be in the live chat.
They don't want us to see them. They're going to be they're a 400-pound man apparently. But
all right.
chat. It's like
hang on. Ready? I am declaring it. The news is over.
So
okay, continue.
The news? Just kidding.
Announcements. We have an announcement.
But we do.
Brace yourself.
Sort of. All right. So today I decided to just poke around on Teespring, and I've never used the Teespring campaign or anything before, so I just want to see what it's all about. And I found out that I can literally offer T-shirts without any cost to us, and we get the proceeds. So if you guys want to support the show and have an awesome T-shirt from Teespring with Iron Sysadmin's logo on it, I'm putting a link to where you can do that in the show notes. So we now have Iron Sysadmin T-shirts from Teespring. Mind you, I ordered one for myself, but it's not here yet, so I don't know anything about the quality. So if any of you have ever bought a Teespring shirt, maybe you can speak to the quality of their shirts.
I think I have. I think I bought the Trevor Forget shirt from Teespring.
That is where that was on sale. So if you have that, then that would give us some idea.
Great cotton.
Yeah, I have a love-hate, mostly a hate relationship with Teespring.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's actually so how does
it's just you being you.
So Teespring and I kind of need to, and maybe it's just the particular vendor on Teespring. Teespring itself, it just supplies the page for you to create things and sell, correct?
Yeah.
So it's up to you to put down your like if you're going to put something on sale or whatever.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So then screw that vendor.
Okay.
There've been a number of
selling things at a price that they chose.
Please don't mess up.
Well, no, because it'll be like, oh yeah, we're selling this for $2. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll grab one while it's $2, and maybe I'll get a T-shirt at the same time. And I put it in, and the shipping is $30.
Well,
I'm like, oh, that's really weird. Why is the shipping on this product $30 when the same product that's not on sale, the shipping is $1?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't given an option to set shipping, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a handling chart. I don't know. They're clearly playing games and trying to convince people that they're getting stuff for free and then charging the cost and shipping. So I don't know if it's Teespring themselves.
As far as I could tell, with Teespring, they handle the majority of the transaction. So I give them artwork. I tell them, yes, I'd like this on a black T-shirt. And then people can go buy it. And they take their cut and they give me the difference. I get to set the price. But other than that, I've given them artwork and I've set the price. And I promote it like I'm doing right now. Hey, guys, go buy a T-shirt.
I'll tell you what, the recommendation engine is a hell of a lot better than anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah?
That's what you're paying for.
It recommended 4 T-shirts. It recommended 4 T-shirts. The first one is Iron Sysadmin.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. The second one, Trevor Forget.
Perfect.
Okay. It's listening to us.
The third one's called Fireproof. It says, I must be fireproof after all the hell I've been through. So clearly it knows what happened to me today.
That's pretty awesome.
The fourth one says, warning, this shirt may contain a Viking. I mean,
wow. That's pretty good.
Really good.
Nailed it. 100%.
Wow. Let's see what my
Dustin,
recommendations are.
What are your recommendations?
Let's see. Where did yours show up?
Yeah, mine's not giving me recommendations.
I just went to teespring.com.
You just went right to Teespring?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Recommendations for me.
Go ahead.
Let's see. No, these are really...
I don't know. I kind of want to know what Dustin's are, given that face.
Oh. That's
weird.
This is snooping on Facebook cookies.
See, Jason is on Facebook.
I can guarantee it.
I don't have Facebook, so...
Well, okay, so whatever network Facebook uses, or whatever methods Facebook is using for cookies, that's what this is doing. Because it showed me Iron Sysadmin. I'm not logged into Teespring at the moment, so it doesn't know that I made that shirt. It shows me Iron Sysadmin. It shows me... I don't even know what this is a reference to.
I don't either. Built Adams Tough.
Built Adams Tough. I have the same
Jackson,
one.
Because Badass is not an official name.
Oh, so you have the same ones that I do.
What browser are you using? I wonder. Let me try a different browser. See, I got a different one now.
We're going to spend the rest of the show trying to figure out how it figures out.
So interesting. I'm using a Google Chrome browser versus Firefox, and now I have ones that I actually think are funny. I will cut you, and it's a picture of a rainbow, or of a rainbow. Oh my God. Of a unicorn.
Now we find out that Dustin is a brony.
Yes, I'm excited now. And then a stormtrooper cat, a stormtrooper holding a cat. One that's not related, a feminist.
Of course, you
have
something with cats.
Of course.
Of course, you have multiple things with cats.
Yeah, so I'm not going to open up a second browser window to find out what I get in my other browser. But
come on, let's try Safari.
you go right ahead.
And same as Chrome. Interesting. Okay. Weird.
Welcome to T-shirt chat with
Welcome to T-shirt
Dustin
chat.
and Nate.
Das cookie. Okay.
LV Hackers is coming up this Wednesday. Are either of you going to make it?
I will be driving.
You will?
Yes, Wednesday night.
You mean you'll be
okay.
driving to Easton to attend the LV Hackers, right?
No, I'm sorry. I'll be going the other cardinal direction.
Hmm.
Maybe.
I don't know what's in Weston.
I unfortunately cannot attend.
I won't be attending either.
Not only
Sorry.
can I not attend, I found out that my trip that I have to take is actually tomorrow now. So
You are both terrible.
I missed last
Sorry.
month's too. It sucks. Like
You did.
You've been
You did.
better
You
than I have.
you made it to every single one of them, and now you've missed 2 in a row.
yes,
We're gonna kick you off of the admin staff.
I would.
So I believe there's going to be an announcement this time around, but there's been so little conversation about when this is going to happen that I don't know if I can talk about it yet.
Oh.
We're basically reforming the group as part of a larger group.
Oh,
So it'll be good stuff.
that'll be cool.
At least,
is that
at
what you
least
guys
they
are
think
going to
it'll
talk
be
about
good stuff. What's that?
Is that where you guys are going to announce or talk about it this Wednesday?
I want to say that they were talking about announcing it.
Is it? I still haven't figured it out. Is it more than marketing? Is this actually going to do anything, or is it just a marketing ploy?
To be honest, I'm not certain. I think
Okay.
it gives the group a little more marketing. Really, and I think there's some backing from the overarching group. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know for certain.
That'd be cool. That'd be nice.
I mean, I don't know. If it brings more members in, then I think that'll be worth it. Really, like we don't get like money or anything from what I know, but it probably gets us listed on like
Directories and stuff.
larger like listings and whatnot.
Will it put us in 2600? That's the real question.
No, that's a whole different group.
Yeah,
sure.
that's a different group.
We're not
Yeah,
a
but don't
2600 group.
Yeah, but don't they collaborate a little bit? No,
have
I
no
don't know.
idea.
Maybe.
I have
I
no
may be
idea.
making that up.
You're totally making that up.
Yeah, I thought I saw a mention of it, but I guess not. Might be another article.
So yeah, LV Hackers this Wednesday, Two Rivers
Yeah,
Brewing in Easton.
that's-
You two schmucks won't be there. I'll be there.
I need to get back. I don't want people to think that I ran away.
You ran away. You got scared after that Docker talk. Now you just don't want to come back.
Yeah, that wasn't for that audience. That was fun. Anyways,
All right, I guess that's enough for announcements. I don't think we have anything else cool going on. Oh, except that we're on at 7 o'clock now instead of 9.
Oh.
So, I mean, you two knew that already. But anybody listening, audio after the fact.
well, I thought it was
I've already
7:30,
mentioned
but
it once, but it was closer to 7:30. It's supposed to be 7. How's that?
fair enough.
All right. So,
Jason's doing some pondering.
yeah, I guess so.
Sometimes.
You guys have anything cool going on? Have you done anything fun? Any neat projects? I know you've probably both been busy working and can't talk anything about it, especially with your coworkers watching.
I fixed some cabinets in the kitchen this weekend.
Ah,
That's awesome. I had to replace the battery in the car. Merry Christmas to me.
Gee, it's cold out. The battery's dead.
crap.
Yeah, I discovered that going to the local hardware store, which is a big box hardware store, but whatever, and purchasing the necessary components to fix the cabinet was a very, very expensive thing to do. And I have, well, so I fixed the, okay, so the house we moved into, I'm not sure how old these cabinets are, but all of the hinges on them are worn to the point where the cabinet doors will not close all the way because
okay.
you know how the some of the snap hinges work and eventually
they
they
have like
wear
a
out.
configuration where they're supposed to snap it
Right.
shut.
So
yeah.
so they've worn out, and there were a number of them that okay, yes, coworker, I see you trolling us. 7:30 is not equal to 7. I get it. So
On Iron Sysadmin time, 30 minutes past the hour is the hour.
Right. We have our own time zone. Shush.
We do. We're
If it's
we're in
inside of
Iron
7,
Sysadmin standard time.
as long as it's not
It's
8.
IST.
Yes.
So they're like $8 a piece, like per hinge. If I
Oh
what's
went
wow.
to
cheaper?
big box
Well,
store.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So I have.
You could have
the-
just bought those little magnet catches.
well,
buy new
Yeah, I
cabinets.
could have done that.
That's what they
but-
want.
Yeah, just buy new cabinets.
It's only
So,
about $4
Harvard
grand
Crew.
investment.
I got the card for them. Apparently, Bloom is a very big
Bloom or
manufacturer of
Blum?
these things. Blum, Bloom,
Blum.
BLUM, whatever.
Blumpkin.
So
Maybe you have to pronounce that with an English accent.
anyway, I hit eBay and I threw the I wasn't even going for eBay. I just
What was
threw
your
the
suggestion?
the part number into Google, and I got an eBay link, and I went, hey, think about eBay. So I hopped on eBay. I got 40 of them for $80. So
Half price.
40 of them? Did you really need 40 of them?
I
Or
actually
are you
need 40.
planning ahead for 30 years from now when you need to replace them again?
No, I
I got them
need
on that back
actually,
shelf.
I actually need 46, but
Really?
40 is close enough.
Holy crap.
Well, I got to replace them all because like
I use them on
almost
everything.
Didn't realize you had that many cabinets.
almost every the cabinets use either 2 or 3 per door.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
almost every cabinet has this problem where it kind of sits open a little bit. It's really
Now I know
annoying.
why cabinets are so expensive.
Now that I have fixed
Because of the
like
danged hinges.
now that I have fixed like 3 of the doors in there, the rest of the ones sitting open are driving me insane. So
Well-
now I have to fix them all.
I'll get up there, work on it. Just take your mic with you. You can work on it while we're chatting.
Yes, we will.
I gotta wait till
transition to
next week
Iron
for them to
System
come in.
Woodworking.
Oh, you don't have them yet. Okay.
Handyman.
Iron woodworking.
Iron hand. I don't know.
Iron handyman.
This is the Iron Handyman podcast where we talk
Listen,
about
coworker, I
and
bought
work
the
on
house
cabinets.
used.
How to upgrade your 100 amp service. Oh, what happened to Dustin? Oh, well, he was upgrading the electrical panel. He's not with us anymore. Iron electrician. Oh boy.
Now you're starting to sound like my head just blanked. What's his name? Derby guy.
Which one?
No, it's, the one we were joking about that's going to vaporize himself before next DerbyCon.
Oh, Integral.
Integral.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, that wasn't a joke. He's actually doing things that could have caused. Him
I
to
know
vaporize
that.
himself.
That's why I'm joking about it.
No. I found out what he was up to, and I was like, maybe that's not a thing that you should do. He's like, I almost killed myself like 4 times. I'm good.
Yeah. So, Dustin, next year when we're running that contest, we're going to have to look for Integral.
Oh
If he's
boy.
not around, he gets the award.
He
Posthumously awarded.
did sign in, right? Yeah, he was here.
Yeah. Go check his hotel room.
Did he check out?
On the wall.
What's all this
Shaped
dust
like a
all over the
person.
floor?
Yeah, he hasn't checked out. Oh, okay.
What's all this dust?
Then a voice comes out over above us. Hello, guys.
I have transcended
We'll have
to
to-
a new plane.
I have
Dude, you
disintegrated
win.
myself.
You win. You can stop.
The
spirit.
Memorial Integral Award.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is we already moved hotels, so if it happens in the new hotel, he'll always be there.
There. Yeah.
No,
No, if
I
you're
think it
going to
would be better to
vaporize
haunt the
yourself
old
at DerbyCon, it has to be at the Hyatt.
Yeah,
yes, you have to haunt the old place.
Yes.
that's true. Leave a legacy.
Oh, hey guys, we need to finish this. I have 13 minutes before I have to do a podcast recording.
Oh
So
yeah,
says my
okay,
calendar.
cool. Yeah. I actually have 13 minutes before I'm supposed to be putting my kids to bed. I don't think I'm going to make that. Next time around, we'll do better.
Yeah. I want
So
to-
the other night, I took one of my websites and converted it from Drupal to WordPress.
How do you feel?
I actually feel so much better.
Don't you? I've been running websites on WordPress for a while.
So I mean,
I'm not
it
a
seems
magician,
like
but
every time I make a decision in life, I choose the thing that is the least popular.
Yeah.
So like, When I was in high school, when all the other boys were playing sports, I was playing with computers. That seemed to work out okay for me. You know, when I was in college, when everyone else was learning Windows, I was learning Linux. That seemed to work out okay for me. Drupal seems like it was just like everyone else was doing WordPress and I did Drupal. And it seems like all I really did was waste years of my life.
Come
Drupal is
on.
Drupal is a great platform, but it's like a platform for engineers. It's the best way I can put it.
Right. You can make it do just about anything, whereas WordPress...
You have to find a plugin. It's all about the plugin, guys.
Right,
like
but with the thing is, all I needed it to do was host content. I just needed a CMS. I was using Drupal, and Drupal was doing okay. But like all the stuff that I spent hours figuring out how to do on Drupal, WordPress just did out of the box. Like RSS feeds, media uploads, like all these things were just like, hey, here you go.
Yeah, but but right. So WordPress was literally designed to be a blog. So those are the things that you need for a blog. Drupal wasn't designed to be a blog. Drupal was designed to be a CMS.
Or to do like, you know, host a podcast. Like literally, the site that I moved, I have a smaller sort of podcast. It's not a weekly thing or anything, but I've released things that are like podcasts. And I literally just made a post, added an MP3 to it, and made an RSS feed, and I'm done. That took me a day's worth of troubleshooting on Drupal to get it just the way I needed it to get it.
I will say that Drupal does make it very difficult to do simple tasks like creating a blog.
Yes, but it's very extensible, which is the thing. And really, the main reason I was using Drupal was because I had figured out, well, I mean, years ago, you had lent me that book, and I learned how to write modules for Drupal. So I could make Drupal do literally anything I could figure out how to code.
Right. Did you publicly commit those? You have those out on the web?
No, they were all like personal modules and stuff that I had written. And really, even then, I didn't do anything all that crazy. It was just like stuff that I wanted to do, you know?
Why is he laughing?
Trying to remember some of the modules. What you wrote a bunch of scrapers, didn't you?
Yeah, I had written things that would scrape images. I had written one that would do like if you had a bunch of images, they could come up random and you could have people like vote on them.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
It was neat stuff, but it wasn't anything that was high enough quality that I thought I could release back to the community. It worked well enough for me, but it wasn't.
Oh, come on.
Have you seen the crap on the internet?
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to be one of those people.
Whatever.
I didn't have any emojis in my code either.
Well, you have to. It's the only way, man. Emojis in your code, emojis in your passwords, emojis in your username, emojis in your Slack channels, and the title.
Emojis in your Slack channels.
Yes.
Fired.
Yeah.
For the last time, no.
But all right.
You don't respect my authority.
No.
Why do you have a no button?
Because I don't say no enough.
I've already told you what I got to do with that button. We're going to rewire it. It's going to get relocated.
Yes.
All right, I think we're done with the chat section, don't you?
Yeah,
Sure,
I've got
no complaints.
I've got one glass of beer left. Almost done.
All right, folks. So full disclosure, we had a guest lined up for tonight, but he had to back out. You may remember us talking last time around. Dustin was going to have a friend of his on to talk about DCOS because he was sort of a DCOS pro or whatever. He couldn't make it tonight. So we had to sort of come up with something to chat about on the show tonight.
Fear
a
not.
while ago.
We've sent out the black helicopters to take care of the problem. He will not be on a future episode either. He's been taken care of.
You do not
what are the
stand up
helicopters
the
that were in
Iron
Dave's
Sysadmin podcast.
That
was the one that was in my printer, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, some time ago, someone had written some feedback. I want to say it was a comment on one of our YouTube feeds. I don't remember anymore. That he wanted to hear us talk about migration. And he didn't really go into much more detail than that. So I figured we'd run with that. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about just sort of some general you know, migration planning and maybe share some stories or, you know, whatever about migrations that have gone wrong and what we've learned from them and whatnot. So, yeah, I guess anybody who's been a sysadmin for long enough has been through a migration or two in their life, or in their career, I should say. Personally, the first big one I can remember going through was a Qmail migration. And Jason, you were actually sort of helping me along with this one. I don't know if you remember this. This is when I was back at ISP.
Oh yeah.
Remember
That's
you and
back
I worked
when-
together? We figured out how to
Yeah.
do that multi-node.
Yeah, because my
box.
toaster site is still up too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we had several aging Qmail systems. I want to say there were 2 or 3 of them. I think it was 2 of them. And they were on some, you know, single point of failure Dell boxes, right? And they were stable enough, but I mean, nothing spells sleepless nights like having your entire ISP's mail server running on 1 or 2 Dell servers that are getting older and older and older.
Let's
Wish
be
you had 1 or
real.
2.
That's not the only thing at that particular provider that was keeping you up at night.
There were plenty of things keeping you up
It
at night, like the pager.
It was the nonstop, incessant paging all night long that was keeping you awake.
It's funny when my wife's brother, so my brother-in-law had children before I did, or before we did. I can only claim half the credit for that. When he had his first son, it was like 2 or 3 years before we had our own, and he was like, "Oh, I can't sleep anymore. It's terrible. It's the worst thing I've ever had to endure." And I looked at him like, "So it's kind of like having a pager?" Because what he was describing to me was exactly what I was going through with the damn pager. It's like, oh, I'm woke up at all hours of the night and I have to spend an hour or 2 feeding the child and getting it back to sleep. I'm like, have you ever tried driving all the way to Wind Gap? Bleary-eyed and half asleep?
On the icy roads?
I'm like, at least you get to stay home.
I would kill for an hour and then going back to sleep. That would be the best.
So anyway, when we finally had our first daughter, I don't know. I'm not going to say that it was a breeze, but it wasn't nearly the hell that he described to me.
Yeah. I'll feed her if she's up. I'm going to be up anyway.
What's this? I get to get up and sit in a rocking chair and rock the kid back to sleep in a very peaceful manner. I don't have to get in the car. I don't have to deal with stress. Like, this is fine. I'll deal with this all day long.
Right. Right. The CEO is not screaming at me on the phone.
Yeah, right. The owner of the company isn't asking me why it's not fixed yet. I don't have a 12-hour day ahead of me.
Hey, you know the email's not working, right? No way.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so what we did was we took essentially the same system. We built a multi-headed. It was like an NFS box in the back, and there was, you know, several Qmail head nodes, and they all used the same storage. So it was more like a cluster, kind of. I guess it wasn't quite a cluster, but it wasn't quite the single point of failure that the old boxes were. And it was really nice. I was really looking forward to getting stuff moved onto it. So of course we picked the biggest customer we had to move first.
Good test.
And it really things went wrong.
Why do upper management people always do that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
We've got this new thing, or we want to do this migration. Okay, cool. Can you start with the largest customer we have?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I didn't stop him. I should have. I should have been like, that's a bad idea. Let's move like this tiny piddly guy with 2 accounts, and one of them's only a redirect.
Well, I was told. So I had one of these where I was told, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the biggest customer first. Like, but I mean, if it goes wrong, that's a lot of people out.
Why would we do that?
But we'll know quicker.
Well, no. Well, we knew pretty quick. So yeah, I moved this customer who had several domains. We moved, I think, half of them or all of them. I don't know. We moved a bunch of them. So there was like, I don't know, 30, 40 accounts on this new beefy system that I had put together. And I'm like, all right, awesome. We have the first ones up and running. We'll let it burn in for like a day, and then we'll start moving the rest of them tomorrow, right? And like 9 o'clock at night, things start going wrong. Email delivery's not working right. They're getting bounces. I forget what the problem was, but it was just like bad stuff for our biggest customer. So I had to frantically move them back at like 10 o'clock at night. And the next day I'm talking to the boss and I'm like, oh yeah, so there was this problem, that problem, and whatever. And I moved them back off onto the old system. And he looked at me and he goes, why'd you do that? I'm like, well, their mail wasn't working. Why didn't you just fix it? I'm like, I thought it was more important to get their mail working. Like right away. So anyway, that's my first major migration and my first major migration fail story. Yeah, in case you haven't guessed, the thing that I learned there was don't move the biggest customer first. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I mean, you guys have any funny migration stories? We can start out this way. Come on, give me some failures. I know Jason never does anything wrong.
Yeah. I was a network admin, so I didn't get to play the moving sysadmin stuff. At least not.
No, you had to take out half of Pennsylvania.
Well, that's. I mean, that's not entirely true. I did a bunch of sysadmin stuff too, but yes, I may have been responsible for something along those lines a couple times.
That sucks.
Not quite that bad, but we've done a number. We had done a number of migrations from, old equipment to new equipment, or moving pops, or et cetera, where all you're doing is updating routes, and then magic happens.
Yeah, like
and
level
by
3
magic, I mean, and by magic I mean, what happened to the node? Where did it go? Well, why can't I get to it?
The magic was actually a disappearing act.
Yeah, and a lot, it's funny because those first migrations where things go wrong and you go, oh shit, you just stare at the screen. You're like, and all that's going through your head is, okay, here's 500 million scenarios. Which one gets me into the box?
And you're starting to run the numbers as to how many people are affected.
No, well, yeah, no, it was more along the lines of like, how do I get this up really quick before somebody notices? And,
yeah, right. Yeah, that's always a good place to be.
And there's always I mean, hindsight is 2020, but like years in, after having done lots of different migrations and having lots and lots of different failure scenarios, you think back to those beginning ones and you go, huh, I could have solved that with these 3 keystrokes because I could still get
right.
And like on a networking level, you lose your default route and you're like, I'm screwed. And you're not always screwed because you're usually just a default route doesn't mean that you've lost everything. It means you've lost connectivity beyond one hop.
Right.
Which means that you may be able to get into it. So
if you have something that's one hop.
Yeah. And chances are you probably do. Then it comes down to, did I set up the access lists to allow for that? And the first time around, the answer is no. And the second time around is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I allowed from the first, second, and third hops now.
I did that on purpose. It's all there now. Security be damned.
No. All secure. So we actually built the ACLs such that it would cover all of the IPs used on the routers and switches. So if you lost connectivity for one reason or another, any directly connected router, regardless of the IP that's on it, was accessible because we pulled the IPs out of the same net block. So as long as you could get to a router that had connectivity to it, you were good to go, which worked out well. But it took once or twice to learn that.
Trial by fire. It's the best way to learn.
Yeah. The best migrations are, the ones where you're doing a database and you're moving stuff and then you do the delete and you forget the where.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, everything's really fast now. What happened?
Did you reindex things? No.
There's no data in the database.
Nope, it's just gone. There's nothing there.
Oh, we can restore from backup, right? Well,
I mean, to speed things up even further, I wiped them as well.
So, Dustin, what's the first thing we do every time we do an update?
Make a database backup. Yeah.
It's almost like someone's learned that by fire.
Yeah,
oh yes, we have learned that. Oh, all right. I wasn't even thinking of that. You did have a database backup though, so that's okay.
Well, arguably yes, but it wasn't very recent. I mean, it was recent enough. Yeah. and I didn't lose all the data. So I don't have any good complicated or complex migration stories like you guys. I've always had, other peers that have kind of been my second set of eyes, and the mess ups that I have had, they've been very minor. One recently, there's a project management tool that a project manager or manager of project managers wanted to make more efficient.
You're getting yelled at about this right now.
Yes, I am. Yeah. And he was on my butt about it for like a month. Hey, can you make this change? Make that change? And I was just kind of like pushing off, like, yeah, we'll review this stuff. We'll do it in one thing. When you make up your mind, because you change his mind all the time. Well, enough was enough. I was like, you know what? If we're gonna spend time on this, we're gonna get it done. Let's do it. And I had blinders on. I said, okay, I trust this guy. He knows what he's doing. He uses this application more than I do, and hey, I support it. That's fine. Yeah. I was wrong. Some of the changes I made were very straightforward at the beginning, and then when we decided to move all of our, I can't give it away. If we wanted to move all of our issues, updates, whatever you want to call them, to other, let's call them categories. Yes. When I moved them, we copied them, which is fine. Copying seemed to work. One couple issues came up after the copy. One, I was the author of everything I copied. Two, so I could email updates on everything.
All the issues are yours now, Dustin.
Pretty much, yep. And number 2 or 3, I forget where we're at, whatever number we're on. All of the little, details, the little entries after that initial opening of said ticket, they all disappeared. And he said, "Oh, that's no problem. You can go back to those other categories and bring them back." No, because out of a noise in my ear and me not thinking of it, it's like, "Oh, let's just delete all those." And I said, "Okay, yeah. What's wrong with deleting all of that stuff? It'll be fine. Everything copied." Yeah. So we literally had the subject of all of the different things that were being worked on, and none of the details from people adding to those details. I said, "Oh shit." So Jason is traveling somewhere. I said, "Okay, well, what do I do now?"
I was in another country, wasn't I?
You were.
I might have been like on the plane or like going between planes or something.
No,
and he's like,
no, you were there. You were there. You were at your destination, but the internet sucked so bad, so it was like one-way communication.
Right.
I explained my problem on the phone, or I should say audio, not even on the phone, and Jason's typing back because he didn't have enough bandwidth to talk back. He had to type it back. And he likes to hear me yammer, so it was fun. Telling him everything, he's like, "Well, you fucked up." I was like, "Yes, I did." So he said, "What are you going to do?" And I explained, "Well, I'll take a backup of the current state." He said, "There's a backup from the previous day. You can do that." And I said, "Okay, well, let's look at what I've changed." And I played database guy for the first time in a long time, never to this level. And I opened up the database in a container after I shut everything down of all the changes that were made compared to the backup from the day before, and I was able to find me, author 28. I leaked a secret. I found my author number and went through all the different records.
Hold on. I need to write that down for the day that I try to break into your company and take everything over. Author 28 is Dustin.
Not 66.
Yeah, please spend all your time going after the ticketing system because
Well, it might change again. Who knows? But I was able to use that, a timestamp, and I forget a couple of other things, and I was able to correlate what field went where, what the new IDs were, and I was able to basically make manual inserts back into the database. Fired it up and it worked. I mean, I didn't actually write the insert statements. I used a GUI tool to help me kind of, figure out what I needed to write, but it was like, 3 hours, 4 hours? Wow. And I had everything back to where it was.
4 hours.
Yeah. Yep. That was recent.
But you eventually got out of it, though. You eventually got it fixed.
Yeah. I haven't heard any complaints. I mean, other than the changes that were made later about people not being able to change different things, but that was more so after the fact. Yeah.
So just as a point, all of the damage was done through the application. This was not database level.
Nothing back end.
Access.
Right. It was pretty amazing to see how well it was structured. I mean, it worked out very well.
Some people go pretty insane with their database structure. You're lucky you're able to read it.
Well, when the guy directing the changes suddenly says, "Okay, I think we're good. You can delete all those old issues."
I said, okay, if you sure. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay.
Poof, gone, done, life
Yeah.
over.
I was
Okay,
very
that was
happy.
4 hours of repair.
Yeah, it was fine.
and someone is going to remind you of this forever.
Every time. Yep. Yep. Never live a day.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
so,
you spent 4 hours, and so did they. So
Yeah.
so migrations. Yeah, it's
Oh,
step
I forgot the
one.
best part. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. What's the best part?
So, a solution that was proposed from the person that I was taking, advice to, which I should have taken, mildly, said, "Why don't we just retype everything?" I said, what? Yeah, it's no
Manual
big deal.
entry.
We can
You're talking
retype
about
it.
manual entry
yeah, just retype everything. From memory.
from memory. You remember all the issues and all the comments, right? Just
Yeah.
retype them all.
The coworker that's speaking to us in another chat was ready to kill both that person and I. Literally reach over the table and strangle that person. I wasn't in the office that day, luckily. I
You
probably would have
appear to
gotten
have
hit.
survived. Has the other guy?
A little still shell shocked.
He's got a big head, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is how I ended up with this.
No.
No.
I didn't realize that's what that came from. That makes so
Yep.
much sense. Oh, I love it.
Okay, so we're coming up with a list here. Step 1, don't move your biggest customer. Step 2, don't take half of Pennsylvania offline by deleting your default route.
Oh.
Step 3,
He's a junior engineer, damn it.
Yeah.
So,
And I've had some pretty big projects that I didn't mess up. And just to do something stupid like that, it's
Hey, it just happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Happens to everybody. So, I don't know. I'm sort of curious about your guys' take on this. I'm always a big fan of the incremental cutover style of migration.
Okay. I
Stand up
kind of go ahead.
stand up. So you've got service A and service B, and
Yep.
service B is meant to replace service A. They do kind of the same thing, right?
Yep.
You got to get all your users from service A to service B.
Yeah, so your new service is a different architecture. It's virtualized versus physical. And all
Right.
those hurdles and the steps that you take to get to 64-bit virtual. Then you take your
Right.
step of.
So you've got two options, right? You have a cutover where service A goes away and service B stands up, and everything has to work the instant you stand it up. And then you have the long, painful migration, which is service A and service B coexist for like 6 months to a year, and you're incrementally moving people over. So I've always preferred the second method, even though it's longer and more painful. I'm curious about your take on which one is more preferable. I always feel like there's less stress involved in
When
the
you do something-
incremental migration.
Well, I think it depends on a few things. I think one thing is the complexity of what you're converting, right? I mean, that's obviously something I would go straight to. It's like, okay, if we get to here and we have a time frame of this, how can we do this in that time frame? And that brings up another point. So time frames, right? I mean, if you have something that's getting a lot of push from upper management or what have you, sometimes you don't have the same time frame that you would want to have for something that's very complex. So I think two things come into it: complexity and time, in my opinion, and obviously time is money, so you got to pay people, right? And risk is something that is obviously always important in understanding your stakeholders, but sometimes that's, in my opinion, sometimes that's missed, right? So it's more so what comes down to time from upper management, money, and then for us it's like, okay, but understand we have to do these, this, and that, and it's kind of a headbutting thing, I guess. I mean, maybe not. I haven't done enough big projects to say that that's hey, that's absolutely the answer, but every organization's different too.
And I'll get pushback on this, and I know that, but you are allowed to say no to upper management. That is a thing that is allowed to happen. Yeah, that NO.
That's why he's got the button.
So one thing that I've learned is if you can at least push back hard enough to say to let them know, if you push to the point where we're going to have to rush things are most likely going to break.
Absolutely.
Right? If management isn't willing to listen, like, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, do what you're going to do and do the best you can, but chances are you should probably be looking for a new place to work anyway. So I mean, within reason, pushing back is definitely something you should be doing.
Don't be a no person because you're a no person because you're afraid. Be a no person because you need to highlight or talk about things in more detail. There's that expression that you want to be somebody in this industry that's an enabler and not a, I don't know what term they use, but basically somebody who says no because they just don't take the time to understand or move on. And don't be slow. I don't know. It's a weird expression. And of course I'm killing it. Continue. You get what my point though.
Wow. What? What? How much beer did you drink?
True. Iron Sysadmin beer cast.
Yeah, there's
we do need a beer soundbite.
Yeah, there's a
soundboard needs to grow.
There is a book, and I am trying to. There it is. The Power of a Positive No. How to say no and still get to yes.
So is that more like no?
It's more like no, no.
Not like no.
No, I mean, I still need to read said book, but I believe the idea is how to like. It's not just to look at them and say like, nope, not going to happen. It's more like, hey, I have concerns with doing it this way. If we continue along this path, we're screwed, and here's why. If we take a slightly different tact, we might be off in a better direction, or, you know, we could do this entirely other thing, which would make it even better.
It's more like an open-ended no.
It's
a no, you're dumb.
Right.
More like a no, that's not going to work, but here's an alternative, or here's why, or whatever. Let's work through these things.
Yes.
Instead of just a flat out, nope, can't do that because I'm going to be a dick.
True.
Right.
Nobody likes that.
You're going to be a Richard.
A Richard, indeed. Or a Rich, perhaps.
Sorry, Richard.
Richard Cranium?
I have not heard that joke since 7th grade.
What? It's a wonderful joke. It's like one of the best out there. Come on now.
I guess so. Now we know where Jason's head usually is. 7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
A little bit more to go.
That's awesome. I'm almost done with mine, so that means the show must almost be over.
3 philosophers. This is the way to go.
Oh, that's what. Okay, I couldn't see it. I remember when you brought that to DerbyCon.
Oh, do you remember 3 philosophers now? Yes.
Yes, I remember that they were taking everyone's drinks at the door. When they saw that we had 3 philosophers, they're like, "Yeah, go ahead in."
True story.
They're like, "We're not taking that from you."
Yeah,
the Bud Lights we're gonna take, but not.
It was very.
philosophers.
Yep. It was like, "Oh, we that's really good beer. We can't take that from you." Just
that's awesome.
Yes, I remember.
That's pretty cool.
That was nice.
Yeah,
I don't think you can get away with that anymore.
I told you I was making a very, very big mistake tonight, and I'm going to suffer for it tomorrow. But goddamn, if it doesn't taste great.
Here's the taste. Sounds like a beer commercial. The taste.
I don't feel like we're doing this topic a lot of justice, but at least we're filling up time, right, guys? Because that's what's important. The podcast has to be long, not
migrations. Quality. No, migrations are not. Migrations are not necessarily hard. People make them hard, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they can be hard. It all depends on what you're migrating.
Technically hard, yes, but like, I mean, you break it down into sizable chunks.
Yep.
I mean, if you're thinking of something that's like insanely large that you have to move all at once, like look at it again.
Yep.
Usually there's a way to break it apart into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
And if it's truly that big of a migration, take I worked with one of our former guests on a mail migration. One of the first projects I worked on at a new job.
Yes,
matter of fact,
Stories are epic.
I helped I helped create a multi-thread, and I understand what I'm saying. I'm not that drunk. I helped create
Multi-threaded.
a multi-threaded Python process to do the migration. And by multi-threaded, it's spawned a bunch of processes to do, etc. Anyway,
The children are alive.
and yeah, exactly. And what was interesting about it
Could
is
they
that, like,
identify people and kites
you're talking
and
you're
the water
talking
line?
you're talking
At
about
the
like
beach.
three. What did it end up being? Like somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 accounts that had to be moved all at once
Yeah, it's like
and had to be
4,000.
perfect the first time, and et cetera,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Yeah.
And
Communicate to Zimbra.
hey, I wasn't gonna, but okay, yeah.
Whatever their products, whatever. It's not
Right.
Not,
So-
no way.
So yeah, it was also like what, 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And
For
one
all
of
we
the
know, it's
things
IBM
that
Lotus Notes.
we did is that we did a bunch of small migrations initially to verify things.
Okay.
You know, here's a list of like 10 accounts or 20 accounts, and we move things and we move them over and over and over again until we got it right. And then
Yeah.
then we worked on making sure that we could move all the accounts, and we worked on, you know, and this process was a couple weeks, month or more of iteration after iteration after iteration of making sure that the migration scripts did what they need to do.
Mm.
And the nice part is that when you have the backing of the management to do this sort of thing and to do it right the first time, you can get a lot accomplished.
Yes.
Sure.
And-
That is a big
Not
deal.
guessing.
You
Right,
can't have the management breathing down your neck saying, "Why isn't it done yet?" They have to buy into the we're doing this slowly and doing it right.
Right. And again, if
Deliberately
you go
and doing it
back,
right, I should say.
you know, if you look at these migration, it's different when it's a migration for something that's broken and you're losing money, etc. Like those are high stress. That's not a migration. That's incident handling.
Yeah. That's a repair.
In this
Oh,
case,
boy.
it was we got it, we moved it, and you know what? There were still people who had problems, and then all we had to do was keep the old data around for a certain period of time and say, like, hey, if you've got an issue, say something. After X amount of time, we're going to get rid of it.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
we
that
were
is-
able to recover everything. It was
That is a great
worked out brilliantly.
that's a great benefit to the sort of to migration versus upgrade. So when you do an upgrade, you end up sometimes
Why?
destroying the source in favor of the newer, the newer state.
Right.
In the case of a migration, though, the old system is still there.
Mhm.
You just turned it off, or you made it non-production anymore, and nobody's looking at it anymore. So it's all there,
Right.
So yeah, that's always a good safety net.
Yeah, I mean, the other migration we did was phone system. That was a fun one. That took
It really
that took
is.
months and months and months.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, step one was connect the old phone system to the new phone system.
Switch
And then
it.
once that's connected, then you just migrate people over one at a time.
Yep.
It's as easy as unplugging a PRI into another device. Sorry, going the other way. Unplugging one phone system from the PRI and plugging the new one in.
Yeah, the hard part about this migration was the old phone system was old enough that there was no support for it.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
And
When you say old enough, you mean it was old enough that it could not only drive and drink, it may have qualified for AARP.
so
And it took afternoon naps.
so this was a room in the basement of a building that was probably the size of let's see, I would say the room is a good 20 foot by 40 or 50 foot. It's a decent sized room.
Was there a red stapler in there?
And there were,
No.
I'm trying to remember, there were
Be ignored.
8 cabinets. I want to say eight cabinets of phone equipment.
Really? Of the old hardware?
Yep. And phone lines like you wouldn't believe. Phone lines everywhere. I mean,
Like wall to
it was
wall? Like all the way around?
the lines, yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Wow.
it was very, I mean, I'm going to say it's a rat's nest, but it was very, very well done. I'm
Oh,
not,
I'm
not
sure.
sure how you could do it any other way and make it nicer.
Right.
It was very well done.
I mean,
And
cables are cables. Even if you try
Right.
hard, cables can
We-
sometimes look terrible.
we
Especially if you have a lot of
replaced
cables. Yeah.
we replaced
Yeah.
that entire room with one server.
That's amazing.
which
Wow.
is like crazy when you think about it. But that was a bear of a move. And
Yeah.
You're talking about the migration I was involved in, right?
yeah.
That wasn't
Yeah.
just one server. It was a couple servers, but they were all virtual.
Yeah,
So-
but it right. So we created a cluster, but it all you can run that entire thing on one server.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But we created a cluster of servers, and unfortunately, for lots of reasons, that has been it's not what it was. But we did some pretty cool stuff there. That was a lot of fun.
I went through a very successful phone system migration, not to the same level as you guys, way less people. But one of the things that we missed out on, and we didn't know about this, was all of the alarm systems, including fire and burglar, were wired directly into the old phone system as extensions. So when we cut
Yep.
over, I said, "So where does the alarm system fit into this?" Oh, well, they're wired into the pots. I said, "Oh, okay, that's cool. That makes sense." Yeah, they weren't, because the company they used got a notification via cellular backup that both of the lines were down, and there's trouble in this. I'm like, oh God, why is that? Turns out it was wired through the phone system, which was actually against the federal requirement or whatever it is, because you're supposed to have two separate lines and blah,
Awesome.
blah, blah. So I
Awesome.
learned that the not hard way, but it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They used to cut a lot of shortcuts, but
Yeah, so that brings up another good thing that people should think about before starting any migration, and that is fact finding. You need to know
Yes.
everything you
Yep.
possibly can about the system you're coming from.
Yep.
Like in the case of the phone system that Jason is talking about, I want to say we had like a year of lead up. That was
Yes.
all like us meeting with the people that run the current phone system and like fact finding and reading about
Right.
this and that.
And the best part is that after a year, we went, cool, we've got everything, we got this. And we started the migration, and we did not have all the information. There was still like extensions came up, and we were like, huh, what's this? Disconnect it, move it over to a phone, figure out where it goes. Oh, that's a fax machine. Yeah, that's not gonna work anymore. You're gonna have to change that. Oh no, we need our fax machine. Like, it's the 21st century. Seriously, get rid of your fax machine.
yeah, that'll never happen. Same thing with typewriters. That's another, like, that was an
Yeah,
argument I had
some
about
people,
typewriters.
some people just need their fax machine.
Hang on, typewriters, I'll say, can still serve a purpose, and that's okay. I understand.
But when you alter an
machines-
invoice that's printed and you say that's the invoice,
yeah, but fax machines were a workaround for a shitty situation when they were invented.
Okay.
Like, we have better methods for doing this today.
I'm
There's
sure
no reason
I'm sure you won't be
whatsoever
surprised.
for a fax machine.
I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear that we still have fax machines, Jason.
Oh, I
yeah.
know. I'm
Everybody
well
does.
aware. I think we actually helped make one or two of them work, and I'm not sure how they actually work at this point, because they're not supposed to, but they do.
Using a codec. That's the same thing I
No,
ran.
they if I remember correctly, they all use those analog gateways.
Yeah, the analog telephone adapters, ETAs.
Right. But
Yeah.
but the company that makes those analog gateways says that fax machines won't work on them.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
which
Same
is
thing
They
with
work.
awesome.
gas meters.
They
So,
work.
like, some gas meters have like callbacks, so you can kind of estimate how much heat you're going to use, right? You say things that were, disconnected that you didn't know about that you had to fix. Well, same thing. All of a sudden I got a call from our gas provider that was transferred to me. I said, I have nothing to do with what you're providing. Oh, yes, you do. I said, okay. Yeah, none of our gas meters are dialing back to us. I said, what? What do you mean your gas meters aren't dialing back? Oh yeah, we have some agreement. You have a tariff that your company's agreed to, and we have to get readings from your meters. I said, oh, okay. And they said, we've never seen anybody with that brand phone system ever get the gas meters to work. Even if they use whatever codec, whatever, they've never been able to get to work. I said, okay. challenge taken. And I actually was able
Challenge
to get them to work.
accepted.
Their challenge accepted. Thank you. Yeah, I was actually able to get them to work, and they still worked up until I left. Until lightning hit one of the something in the ground that was supposed to be grounded, and it fried a whole bunch of the ATAs. But yeah, literally, there's a wall of ATAs that all these gas meters go through on punch-down blocks, mind you, to get across the building back to a digital ATA. It was pretty cool.
Cool.
I don't know, just
Cool.
weird stuff that you don't think about. Gas meters.
Yeah, I mean things. I mean, I don't know if I can think of something that would be hairier to migrate than a phone system, especially one that has the history that the one that Jason was talking about.
I could only
Well,
imagine.
That thing had literally, I think it had been in place for 30 years.
might have been longer. But I can think of lots of things that are hairier to move than migrating a phone system.
Really?
And there were no lives at risk.
Oh,
for
sure.
the-
Well, no, there could have been. There were those emergency phones that you had to deal with.
Yeah.
If some
look,
student was getting chased across campus by an axe murderer and they pick up that emergency phone to call for help and it didn't work.
Dude,
the cops would have went to the wrong damn place anyway. So
that actually happened. You kid about that? We put in wireless VoIP phones, and there's an issue with the network where only so many phones can be active on an access point at a time because there was collisions that were occurring. And a pipe blew in this manufacturing code, an air pressure pipe. So it was all this like rust in the air. They thought it was a fire, and everybody tried to make a phone call at the same time in that area, and they actually got the phone system to lock up. Sorry, the wireless portion of the phone system to lock up, so they couldn't make any calls. People were freaking out. And,
I bet
it was not a good day.
They probably thought the terrorists were coming. The
This is
phones
like-
don't work. It's the end of the world.
This is like
power grid's
45 days
next.
after it was put in. It wasn't even like 2 months, and I was like, oh no, bad day. I come into the parking lot, there's fire trucks and everybody lined up. I said, uh-oh, that's not good.
This doesn't look good. Hey, by the way, Dustin, the phone system's down. Oh no. Oh no.
I believe the technical phrase for that is "oops."
Yeah, pretty much.
Oops.
I didn't get too tortured after that one. It got
Pretty sure
fixed, though, pretty quickly.
Apple's response to the whole root thing was "oops."
Yeah,
Oops, sorry guys.
can't use that feature anymore for our demos.
Yeah, right.
Huh.
So I bet the U.S. government knew about that. I bet a specific branch knew about that specific exploit.
You think?
I don't know. They've never complained about getting access to an Apple.
Yeah,
computer.
it doesn't work
That
on
was-
iPhones.
That was just in High Sierra, so it has not been around that long. But nice
Yeah.
try.
Well, E for effort.
All right. So anything else we want to talk about migration wise? I mean, I don't know. I
Planet.
feel like the topic was vague enough that I don't know. I don't know what else
Let's
to
say
talk
5
about.
words.
Well,
5
so-
words.
5 words?
Yes.
Is this like five questions?
It's a phonetic thing. Yes. 5 questions, 5 answers. Jason, go.
5 words. What the hell are you talking
5
about?
words.
Talking about, man.
What the hell are you? I'm sorry, I blew it.
Oh God.
What you talking about, Willis?
Where's the beef, my man?
What?
Spit it out. What are these 5 words?
Yeah, what are
I'm
these
saying,
5 words?
So
You
what
keep throwing it
are,
at me.
what are 5 words to always remind yourself about when you're going to do something extravagant, when you're planning something? Migrations. Plan? No? Okay.
Oh
I was trying to
shit!
be
Don't
educational.
screw myself.
Yeah.
Plan, and execute.
Execute.
Yay! 5 was too many. Maybe 3 would have been better. Depends if you like odd numbers or even numbers. Anyway,
Here, I thought you actually
Did
had
you-
5 words.
I thought he had 5 words.
I'm
I
sorry.
know.
I'm sorry I let you down.
I thought this was going to be like the Paul Security. Was it 5 questions or whatever it is?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, right. That's what I was alluding to.
Wow, you guys are actually giving me that much credit? Holy crap.
I don't know.
I thought he was going to come up with 5 words that have some acronym that help you remember them, like back in the days when I was learning the OSI layer.
Ooh, let's see who knows the OSI layer. Jason, go.
Are you kidding me?
I don't remember.
Oh wow.
Applications at top, right? Or is it
physical-
presentation?
No. Yeah,
Physical
yeah.
data.
Physical.
Duh.
Data.
Then there's the data, and then
Data
there's
link.
Yep, and then there's
Network,
is
right?
it network. Yeah, routing network.
PDN.
And then there's all the
transport,
the other crap that nobody cares about.
transport, session,
Presentation.
Presentation,
Yep.
then
Application.
application. That's all 7. There we go.
Politics.
Politics.
Money.
Yes, funny.
Forgot about politics and money.
You know, it's funny. There used to
That
be an
doesn't
acronym
fit into my
for
acronym.
that. What's the acronym you remembered? Because I remembered the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Sally. And I said, "Yep, that's not what I'm thinking of."
Nope, that's not it. So, when I was in business school, our teacher who taught us the OSI model had a funny story that he shared.
Okay.
That has no context for anybody else. But I was able to remember the sentence that he used, and the sentence was, "Please don't needle the silly pissant." There was a story. I can't remember the rest of the story, but I remember the sentence.
This was where was it? Where'd you learn this?
This was at Allentown Business School.
Huh.
Okay, so at least yours was pseudo college.
Yes, I've heard
Right.
that there is another acronym which no one has ever told me, which is definitely not acceptable.
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you know the color code for resistors?
Oh, I know there's one. I don't know it.
You're talking about since high school.
the
I haven't had to
bands.
deal with that.
I learned
Yeah, the
this in
bands.
high
I remember
school.
the bands.
I learned this in high school.
Yeah, I know there was another
From
terrible
my high
one for
school
that
teacher.
too.
Bad boys rape our young girls, but Violet gives willingly, get some now.
Wow.
Wow. I remember
Wow.
Roy G.
That was another case where our electronics instructor was like, "I cannot teach you this one. I have another one that's more friendly. I can't remember it either."
Yeah, I can't teach you this one that sounds like this. Here's the one that's friendly. I cannot remember the friendly one.
I can't remember the friendly one either. I never knew the bad one. I never knew the bad one.
Yeah, that was the one that we weren't supposed to learn. I only heard it once.
But that's the one you remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Only heard it once.
That's why it's so easy to remember, because it's so raunchy.
Brown, black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gold,
gray,
no, let's
gold.
see, no, gray, white,
White.
gold, silver, none.
You know, there's not an acronym that I've ever heard for the 568B wiring standard for Cat 5.
Oh, there's a bikini picture.
There's a bikini picture. You shared it with me all those years ago.
Really?
Yeah, there's a.
I mean, I remember the
bik-
order. But I just don't.
bikini
I've never
wiring.
heard of that.
Yeah, the bikinis literally have nothing to do with it. It's just bikinis.
It's just the way to remember it. Yeah,
That
there's
was-
various models and bikinis of the different colors.
We were looking. We were doing some wire when my father was running an ISP. We were doing some wiring, and he was looking for it, and he's like, "Hey, I
Of
found it.
course
I'm
this
never
came from your
going
father."
to forget this again." And he sends me the picture. I was like, "Oh,
Of course, this
Okay.
came from him.
okay."
White, orange, green, white, blue, white, green, white, brown. Right? 568B.
I thought it
scar
started with
tissue.
green. I thought it went green, white, green,
No, it's orange, white,
orange,
orange.
white, blue, white.
green, white, blue, white,
No. Blue, white, orange.
white, green, brown, white, brown. No,
Yeah.
have to look it up.
I think
unless you're doing 568A, we're gonna make a crossover cable.
I may be thinking of the cross pattern. I had to make a lot of crossovers back in the day.
It's green stripe green, orange stripe
Yeah.
blue stripe orange, brown stripe brown.
Yeah, that's the one I
And
learned.
568A.
That's 568A. Yes.
Yeah, I was talking about B, 568B.
Yeah, orange,
What's the
orange
difference?
stripe,
Orange, white, orange.
orange stripe orange.
Listen, as long as
green
they
stripe
match at
blue,
both
blue
ends,
stripe
that's what
green,
matters.
Brown stripe brown. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. As long as they're the
Yeah.
same on both sides.
Yep. Yeah.
So why is B the standard instead of A?
It's a
Why were
good
you looking
question.
at B instead of A?
I
I
was always told that
cabled
was the
them-
standard.
I always cabled them A in
I
what you're
always
describing.
cabled them B.
So my cables and your cables would be different, but they would still freaking work.
I always just plugged them in randomly until it worked. And I'd start with a really long cord, and by the time I was done, it was about the length that I needed.
Oh yeah, 1,000 meters, right? Not 100.
Yeah, we used to at that ISP I was talking about, not the one you and I worked at, but the other one that had the mail server. We used to make all of our own cables because the owner was too cheap to buy cables. So I had to make a lot of cables.
It was
I
stupid.
always
I had to
did
make them too.
that.
and then explaining to him that, explaining to my boss, like, making these out of the scrap wire is actually more expensive if you include my time and the fact that they're like slightly different lengths.
Right. It's nothing like paying a guy $58,000 a year to make freaking cables.
And they go through all the modules and the tool, certifiers.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you could buy this for like $1.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awesome. There's a
Mhm.
Wikipedia entry on the list of electronic color code mnemonics for
Really?
resistors.
Please share.
Awesome.
That must
There's like so many of them.
Go put that in the show notes.
There's mnemonics for specific parts of the world too. There's ones for India, ones for the UK.
Because the colors are different in other countries? No.
Uh-oh. Is this turning into a racial discussion?
It might be.
And well, is it? Let's see. I don't think so, but I don't know that I understand what the references are.
Maybe spices, colors, dyes.
There are some.
Colors.
I mean, there are some offensive ones that are
well,
of course racist.
That are not the one you remember?
Yeah. Yep. But the ones that are specific to countries are not. They're just weird. Like, I don't know what a BB Roy is, or Bye Bye Rosie. I'm not sure what the references are.
Roy G. Biv.
Yeah, that's something totally different.
That is totally something different.
Red, orange, yellow.
Wow, I never knew that there
about.
were so many of these.
So I'm thinking we might want to call it a night, because I know you have to get up early tomorrow, Jason, and I got hardly any sleep last night, and I've already missed my kid's bedtime by 40 minutes.
Oh, yowza.
So this didn't work out so well.
I think it was a good podcast. Good content.
We'll try harder next time. No, I mean the 7 o'clock time slot. We may have to actually make an effort to get together at 6:30 to get the show started by 7.
See,
Like at 7, not 7
Well,
on Iron
so-
System time.
So I was late, and I know that, but we had already talked about that. But when I came down to get on the show, there was this note in the chat that said, "Hey guys, I'll leave the link here, and you guys can get ready while I take care of some other stuff." And you know what was missing?
So when we will talk about this after the show. There's a reason I didn't. There's a reason I didn't, and it came down to not having a YouTube link dangling around for an hour with nobody on it.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
Well, I thought I was getting blamed because I didn't join for 4 minutes after.
so it's totally your fault. Totally your fault.
Fine.
Yes.
Used to it.
Yes. Totally your fault.
It's all
Oh,
it's all Dustin's fault.
All right.
All right, folks. If you want to find us, go to ironsysadmin.com. If you'd like to send us money, you can either now buy Teespring t-shirts at the link that I'll include in the show notes for today, or you can give us money directly via Patreon, patreon.com/ironsysadmin. You can find us on the usual social networks, those being Facebook and Twitter as Iron Sysadmin. You can join our Slack channel, ironsysadmin.com/chat, and /Slack. Saying slash and Slack in this, it's just really hard to do.
That's why there's Slack. You don't lack. There's Slack.
Slack's like what? Right.
Talk to us
And of
on all the
course-
things.
You can watch us. Oh, I think I mentioned it last time. We're also on Google Play Podcast now. Yay! That's also hard to say.
Yay.
Google Play. I need more beer. Yes, podcasting everywhere. If you want to watch us record these things, hopefully at 7 o'clock every other Monday now instead of 9 o'clock Eastern, you can find us ironsysadmin.com/YouTube. And I think with that, we're going to call it a night.
All right.
Hi, Nora.
Thanks
Think
everyone
with
for bearing with us through this rambly, rabbit traily episode.
difficult time. Come on, this isn't any different than normal.
This is normal. I didn't think we were more
I don't
animated
know.
tonight. We weren't as tired.
It felt more. Yeah, see, that's the point of 7 o'clock. Although I'm just as tired now because of last night. There was no lie. At 3:30 in the morning, I heard an explosion outside. Not like a gunshot or a car backfiring, a legit
Sorry.
explosion. was to the point where I got out of bed and went down to the basement to make sure the furnace had not exploded.
Oh wow, localized explosion. So you thought your house blew up?
Well,
Oh.
it sounded that close. It sounded like it was either in the house or right outside of the house.
I hate to
No
tell you
evidence
this.
at all of an
Your-
explosion.
Your house did explode. You're a zombie.
That's it. That's it. This house is not actually here. I am podcasting from the other side.
The house exploded so hard it blew you into an alternate reality.
So he's not in
That's it.
C-137 anymore.
How did you guys get to the other reality? Podcast.
Teleportation gun.
Rick,
Does the
Rick,
internet span the two realities?
Rick, give me a ride.
Yep. Yep. Using some crystals that he stole from some planet. Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff.
All right, folks. Have a good night. What a night. For anybody who's watching, including Jason and Dustin's coworkers, good night.
Good night.